So boarding school is the complete solution of all development, whether it is spiritual, emotional, physical, mental, psychological, aesthetic. Whenever parent meet to the child, they should not over pamper. First of all, they become the audience to their child.
Hello and very warm welcome to Great Principles. I'm your host Seema Chhoriya. Today's session will be focused on the boarding life of students. As we all know, living in a boarding school can be a unique and enriching experience for students, offering them the opportunity to develop independence, build strong relationships, and immerse themselves into the community of learners. We will be exploring the various aspects of boarding life, including the challenges and benefits, as well as sharing personal experiences and insights. So let's dive in and gain a better understanding on this important facet of in students' life. We are in conversation with Sushma Bhadauria. She is principal of CLC International School, Salasar Road, Sikar, Rajasthan. Welcome to Great Principles, ma'am. We are very honored to have you with us today.
Thank you, Seema, for this show and spotlighting me for on this topic.
So, ma'am, before we are equally privileged to have you with us. Before we dive into this important topic and one of the important aspect of students' life, we would like to know about your life as a student. What was that motivating factor which pushed you to join education domain, and what keeps you going in here?
Well, Seema, my story start with when my mom said once she was a boarding student. And that time I was somewhere in grade 11th and I am a alumni of Kendi Vidyalaya Sangathan. So I said, now I want to explore the boarding house. And with keeping in mind this thing, then I opted boarding school in the my college level, and there I experienced. This was one aspect. Second was I am a first generation working woman. Again, my inspiration is my mother only, and she kicked me to push myself from my comfort zone and go into to make my own identity. Long back in 1990s, I was not much aware about the career options, but yes, one thing was very, very sure that I was keen to make my own identity. The people should know me because of my personal skills and talents. I should be known by my own name, not by the name of my father, or after marriage, my husband, or after that, by the name of my son. So these pointers trigger me to make my own identity. And of course, the third person was my teacher, my guru, my professor, who kicked me. He observed in me somewhere a hidden teacher. He said, "You are best profile for this education fraternity, and I see all the ingredients in you to join the education fraternity." Although that time it was somewhere not attractive and appealing for me, but yes, today I realize how my professor was so confident and how he was able to tap my potential. Yes, I am made for this venture.
Wow. So, teacher by choice, and someone, I will say that behind this great woman is another great woman who has always ensured that you always rise to that zenith, and that person is your mother. So, it's said that when you're surrounded by strong females, your life always upgrades. So, I think ma'am's journey is truly an example of this. So, to all my dear female viewers out there, ensure that the women those who are in your circle, see with whom you're surrounded, because it really affects. And same goes for us children also. As parents, as teachers, we should always be aware in whose company is our children dwelling every day, because the character rubs on, and we always try to attract in our circle a lot of things. So ma'am, and this stays very true even with boarding life. And many a times as parents also we are skeptical, shall we send them to boarding life or not, whether they will leave all the family values and that connect behind. What if they fall into wrong company? There are so many different kind of thoughts which comes as a parent in the mind. Even the child, he who has always been nestled and protected in the nest, is now going away from the house, so even they have lot of different type of anxieties. But yes, there are so many pros of boarding life also. So let's hear it out from ma'am, what it is, when we call upon that, whether we should send or not send, how the life changes when the child goes to a boarding school from a day scholar and all. So ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, well said. As we all know, Seema, we have a Gurukul system since ancient time. And if you just talk about the first Dastani Goi was sung by Love and Kush, which is the again the episode from the epic of Ramayana. And at the age of 12, they were all rounder. Today we talk about holistic development, but if you just see and introspect their lifestyle of Love Kush, it was the perfect example of 360-degree assessment of the child. So, with this similar concept, the boarding school provides all the facet of the emotional development of the child, whether it is a boy or girl. Generally, I have seen the girls are nurtured in a right way, protected from mother as well as father, but especially the negligent part is of the boys. आप ऐसा करते हो, you are a boy, this kind of a tagline is generally tagged with them. So the boarding school, they develop all round. The boys also perform the dance, drama, their aesthetic sense. So my suggestion to the parent is when they are planning to send their children to the boarding school, first of all, there must be a mental as well as physical preparation to send the child to the boarding school. Sending child to the boarding school is not a punishment. In fact, it is the overall development, because as a family, even they are the rich families, they are not, no one is so equipped, the environment, the peer which are provided, because nowadays handful children are there in the family. There is a lack of time with the elders to assist the children at the every step. So boarding school is the complete solution of all development, whether it is spiritual, emotional, physical, mental, psychological, aesthetic, all kind of development is there. Why? Because the boarding school has a system, and it works with this system with this specialized team of people. For example, in morning, it is taken care by the pastoral care department. In the again the that is the mess or the menu which is designed with the consultation of nutritionists, ki this will be the good for the healthy body. After then academics is taken care of. Academics everybody cater that need, there is no uniqueness in it. After that, the activity portion, the sports portion, then the self study portion, and afterward the creative portion, that is only me time, where child express himself or herself and they polish themselves, that is the free time where there is a voice without a form. So all these are the things where parents should consider, because ultimately if you look up the cost of parenting, directly or indirectly it costs the same. But the boarding school, they provide everything under one umbrella, along with solid networking among the peers, which is the foundation of lifelong to fight against the adversity in the life. Yes, Seema.
Very true, ma'am. And I think you very rightly said that before taking this decision, you need to ensure that you mentally and physically prepare yourself as well as your child. So, ma'am, many a times I've seen this practically, that the children complain that, what did you do for me? You had just sent me to the boarding school. So that is the problem, where many parents are like, we don't want this kind of feelings, to get in the child, and they shouldn't feel less loved. So, ma'am, how should, emotionally we prepare the child here?
What happens whenever parent meet to the child? They should not over pamper. First of all, they become the audience to their child. After listening to the children's talk or their observation issues or concerns, then become advise them like a friend, and give them the pros and cons. Let the child decide, for help the child to take the decision, and same time develop the sense of belongingness. It was not a punishment, but it was overall development which could not be provided, where the right now the parents are in that particular setup. That was a reason to send to the boarding school. If reasons are sound and there is a regular conversation between the parent and the child, I am sure there will be healthy output of such kind of concerns. Yes,
So true,
please.
ma'am, because I think we parents and we family members ourselves, build this that going to boarding school is a punishment because, whenever child does anything wrong, we are like, see, I'll send you to boarding school if you do like this.
Yes.
So that should be stopped. We should be very, very careful with the choice of our words because that is what goes wrong. And we don't practice what we preach. Many a times that also happens with us. So I think that needs to be worked upon. And ma'am rightly said that for the overall development of the child, and if you expect so much that schools can do, the child should spend ample time with the educators so that they can shape them, like she mentioned that happened with the gurukul system, right ma'am?
Yes.
So, ma'am, moving ahead here in regards with boarding school, here one more thing is there. So, ma'am, boarding schools, do they ensure that the children have their love for their grandparents? Also, many a times they invite grandparents to come and share their stories. And there are schools those who have special programs where in 2 months one of the grandparent will come and stay with children and talk about their experiences. So, why all these kinds of programs are being taken over nowadays in boarding schools?
Well, as we all know, there is always the importance of personal touch in place of eye touch. So it becomes mandatory and necessary for all of us that we should have a personalized interaction, and in order to understand the utility, the sense of elderly people in our life, it is always that it should be first hand experience. I think because of these reasons, such kind of a programs are invited, and here these elderly people they share their life insights, which ultimately gives more personalized touch to the children to understand the life lessons, and how these life lessons will, I'm sure, will help them to cope up or to help them in their future, especially when they are in a position of adversity or negativity.
Absolutely, ma'am. So, ma'am, are you also in favor of day boardings? There are schools with longer duration these days. So, what are your thoughts on these kind of schools?
See, that is, innovations are always welcomed. So, with the pure boarding schools, now the weekend boarding and day boarding, these concepts are coming up. So, it depends on what kind of a parent's mindset is there or what is their family need is this. So, nowadays schools are also diversifying from boarding to day boarding and weekend boarding. So my takeaway is we always go along with the requirement of my people, my community. It is always then and there, although there is a more pressure with such kind of a boarding system on the schools to tie up, because when there's a only boarding school, there is a different concept. More holistic development is channelized and managed in a better way. But once it becomes day boarding or weekend boarding, there are different challenges. But yes, challenges always gives room for the improvisation and improvements. So my take on is, yes, nowadays the schools are well equipped, we are resourceful, and the people are ready to changes along with the to cater the changing demand. I feel it will cope up along with the market requirement as well as the parental requirement of the society, because ultimately student is our product, but same time they are customer and they are human beings. So, as a human being, first and topmost concern is their emotional well being. And in order to satisfy emotional well being, whatever type and dimensions are required to be customized, the school need to be customized in order to render the schooling services.
So very agree with you, ma'am. You know, many a times many parents come with a request, can you review this school for us? Should we send our children or not? So I always give them only one answer. The school, the right school is the school for you, wherein you and your child both are happy. If you both are happy, then that school is right. There are, no need for someone else to review it. You need to analyze and assess it on your own, because you know your personalized requirement, your family setup, your child's well-being, emotional as well, and physical well-being is up to you. So I think ma'am very wonderfully answered that one. So to all my dear parents out there, if you're also in the same kind of dilemma about boarding, day boarding, weekend boarding, just analyze, sit, discuss with your child and see what fits in best. So ma'am, I think, ma'am, you very beautifully outweighed all the cons. And hearing, ma'am, I think pros for sending children in boarding school is more. So, we must try to give them some experience, at least of a year or two, if not much can be done, because I think that will definitely make them very much independent. Because these days, as ma'am said earlier, also, kids are over pampered. We are spoiling our children, everything is ready for them. They are not even bothered to keep their own shoes at the shoe rack. That also someone maid will come and pick it up. So for all these good habits, and for nurturing them to be a great human being, this experience is very much required. So on this note, ma'am, we have reached to the rapid fire round of our show. Here, ma'am, you need to answer me in one word, or a single sentence would also do.
All right.
Okay, so here
All
goes my
right.
very first question to you. What's your first thought when you enter the school premise?
The face of happy children and the face of happy employees.
All right, what is your leisure time activity?
I love to read comics book, especially Chacha Chaudhary.
Wow. All right. Who is your favorite author?
My favorite author is especially the Brian Tracy.
All right. Are you
Otherwise,
a tea
all
or a
time is
coffee?
my Bhagavad Gita.
All right. Bhagavad Gita. Yes. Great. Are you a tea or a coffee person?
No.
No. All right. So, what is your elixir of the day? How do you start your day?
I start my day by expressing the gratitude that yes, this day is bonus for me, and now how I should maximize it for the benefit of the people who look forward towards me.
Last question in this segment. Name the favorite corner of your school.
Activity department.
All right. Okay, great. So, to all my dear viewers, this was Sushma Bhadauria, ma'am, on our show today. And I'm sure in conclusion, I can see that today we had shed light on various aspects of boarding experience. Boarding life offers opportunity to learn essential life skills, and ultimately, it can be a transformating experience for students. So, Sushma, ma'am, thank you so much for shedding some light on this very, very important and crucial topic. And ma'am has seen her mother herself as a she has experienced boarding life, and so that she can talk on it more passionately. So thank you so much, ma'am, for your time. And to all my dear viewers, stay tuned as we bring in you more interesting topics which will help you parent your child better and help you educate them better. So thank you so much, ma'am, once again for your time with us.
Thank you, Seema. Thank you so much for such kind of initiative. Thank you and all the best for the future.
Thank you, ma'am.